I'm surrounded by a-holes. Keep firing, a-holes! Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today, let's talk about 5 characters everyone should be working on. This is always a fun one because it's a good reminder of what things are going on in the game, what things are being released, and things we can just talk about in general in terms of just a reminder. Hey, these are important. They're very important. Very similar to my patrons. You guys are very important as well. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel, guys. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you guys so much. For real, I owe you a lot of thanks. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And if you want to support the channel for free, folks, all you gotta do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment. Let's mount the algorithm, shall we, folks? Let's mount up. Yippee-ki-yay, mother. That's right, my mom watches this channel. It's excellent. Let's the channel's excellent, obviously, and the fact that she watches it, both. The whole situation is excellent. Now, number one thing we want to be working on right now is Nightsister Spirit, and gosh, she's been around forever, it seems like. I remember when she was first being released, it was actually that they announced all the new Nightsister stuff during, like, the approach to Halloween, which was kind of fun. It was spooky and stuff. Now I just wonder, like, what is this gas she's emitted? Like, how much would it be, like, how painful would it be to have to smell her? I'm curious. It seems a little gross, but one way or another, here's the deal, folks. There are a lot of new things coming out right now, and I could tell you to work on all the new stuff. I could, go work on the new stuff. There you go. I mean, I've said multiple times that everyone should just relic 9 everything. I mean, easy enough, right? So, that all being said, Nightsister Spirit has a very obvious use right now, and that is to go alongside the Great Mothers. Now, we don't know, I don't think, maybe we know what the eventual team will be. People are saying that we have to use the Imperial Remnant characters, the new ones, the Peridia ones, the Peridier than you ones, but I don't think that that's going to end up being the final team that is with the Great Mothers, and I think that Nightsister Spirit is going to have a lot of far-reaching, awesome teams with the Great Mothers. The Great Mothers seem like they're the new hotness, guys. They are really strong, and Nightsister Spirit is terrifying. One of the reasons they're terrifying is that while Nightsister Spirit has foresight, she has 100% offense and ignore armor. That is a rare thing in this game, folks. Ignoring armor is an insane thing. Like, there are a ton of Datacrons that have armor pen or defense pen or resistance pen, all this stuff. This just ignores the armor. This doesn't make any use of the armor pen stuff because armor isn't a thing, but she can still crit while she does it, which is a crazy luxury. Like, a lot of times if you're ignoring armor, that's because you're doing true damage, and true damage is by its definition, it ignores armor entirely, but it doesn't do crits. It's not a possibility to crit with true damage. This one you can. This is one of the few instances in the game left where you ignore armor, and she finally has a character that buffs her to the point that she does a crazy amount of damage. So I look forward to just seeing Nightsister Spirit one-shot things in the future. She was one of my very first relic characters back when the game was transitioning from gear 12 to 13. Spirit was one of the very first that I did because that ability to ignore armor even back then was really strong, and Nightsisters were a very meta team back then. Now, another character that I think people should be working on is trying to unlock Grand Inquisitor. Maybe the time of the Inquisition is drawing to an end, but we're getting a new Inquisitor character, in fact, coming up soon, Marok, whatever his name is, and whereas I think it's intended for him to be part of the mercenary group, and so probably doesn't go with the Inquisition, I do think that it is always wise to be working on the Inquisition, frankly, folks. Even if you aren't in a guild that can get Riva, I think if you get your Inquisition fleets, or characters up to the point where you could farm her. You could probably find a guild that's going to help you farm Reva, frankly. And I think the other thing, and this is what I kind of just subliminally added that, Inquisitor fleets, there are 2 ships that are vital to the current fleet situation, which is one of which is this Scythe ship. And then, of course, the 5th brother pilots it as well. And then you also have the 2nd sister piloting the TIE Interceptor. And both of those are really important to the Chimera fleet. And the Chimera fleet is one of those fleets that it beats all the fleets out there. There are maybe a couple iterations and versions of some of the fleets that it has struggles with a little bit. But for the most part, it beats all of the fleets out there. And you can't do that without Inquisition. And I mean, even if Inquisition were to somehow fall off a cliff in terms of usability in all the different game modes, which they never will, they're amazing, they're so strong in all the different game modes. Even if they somehow did, their ships are going to continue to be relevant, especially if CG eventually opens up a 4th slot in the fleet zone, which, let's hope that never happens, shall we? Mon Mothma is an interesting one, folks. I just got her to Relic 8 for no apparent reason, and it was an accident, we'll say. Sure, yeah, absolutely accidental, but Mon Mothma, so Luthen was released or unlocked in Conquest. I know a lot of people probably don't have him quite done yet. I know my alternate account still has a couple months to get him, and so probably a lot of you do too. But if you're going to get Luthen, there's a huge tug of war currently between the idea of Luthen with Saw, which he goes really well with Saw in 3v3, or Mon Mothma. And I think at the end of the day, you guys saw my video recently where Luthen kills a ton of the meta teams out there. Even without datacrons, even without, I mean, there's going to be some circumstantial things where it's like, okay, yeah, they have a good datacron, that's not going to work this time. But because he helps facilitate a lot of different cool things, even without the good datacrons that are happening right now, I think Mon Mothma wins the tug of war, the Luthen tug of war, the Lotion tug of war, whatever you want to call it. A tug of war with Lotion sounds pretty awful, to be honest, guys. Sounds like the next level of hell. But Mon Mothma facilitates all the goodness, and the reason I got her Relic 8 is because I'm dumb, but also because she shares stats really nicely, and the boost from Relic 7 to Relic 8 is very nice. You can read all about the combined stats, max health, max protection, all this stuff. You can read it right here if you want to pause, or you can read it on your own. But one way or another, it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it does add up once you consider all the characters on the team are going to be sharing stats, and that's being given to all the different characters, including Worthless Guy, I think, or Commander Worthless Guy, as he's called now. So, yeah, Mon Mothma. Now, your mileage may vary on Mon Mothma. I should just say, guys, I think this is going to work pretty nicely. I think it may end up being a somewhat niche thing, but I think Luthen right now, he looks like he's going to be the real deal. I think he's going to be very strong, and I think Mon Mothma is going to be the answer. Though in 3s, I do think Mon Mothma kind of gets dumpstered in favor of Saw. So we're going both of them. I can't put Saw in all my videos, guys. I think he's been so relevant for so long, and I think that's just gonna continue, frankly. Now, Cad Bane is... There's a couple reasons to work on Cad Bane. First off, I've said this a million times, and I guess I'll probably say it like 100,300 times more, something like that, approximately. He's really good with Xanadu Blood. Amazing stuff. And getting him to Relic 8 is, I mean, it's your prerogative. Obviously, my alt account at 8 million has a Cad Bane at Relic 8 because Xanadu Blood is substantially stronger and more survivable at Relic 8 than at Relic 5. There's a lot of good reasons, just fleet-wise, for doing that, and I don't think that's going to change. There's a couple reasons you want to work on Xanadu Blood right now in Cad Bane. One of them is we're getting the punishing one, the Dengar ship. They already told us about that being released. It's going to be good. It's going to be in the starting lineup, so there's some question marks of, will Xanadu Blood be on the starting lineup, or will the Bando ship, the Razor Crest, be on the starting lineup of the Executor? I don't know. However, I do think that there's a decent reason to be working on Cad Bane anyways, in anticipation of Xanadu Blood. But even if not, the other reason, folks, is that he is also a mercenary. He's got the mercenary tag, and I don't really... Who knows what CG has planned for that faction. It seems like they plan on releasing a lot of different characters that are going to interact with the mercenary tag, and I don't know that Cad Bane is on their list of priorities for that. You could just work on Dengar, honestly, as well. It seems like he's going to be in the lead in that fleet. That's probably one of the next things I'm going to be working on for that fleet. But I do think Cad Bane, I mean, and this is just a list to kind of draw your attention to the idea of, let's think about the things that are being released and the things that are how that's going to impact our roster, right? So Cad Bane is a guy that is very possibly going to be very strong. He might just be left out. He might just be one of those guys who's like, yeah, I mean, sure, he's a mercenary, but he's not good as a mercenary because his character's not good, etc. He does have a lot of intriguing tags at this point, though, folks, as a bounty hunter, which bounty hunter sucks at this point. I'm so disappointed in that faction right now. I wish CG would give it some kind of a boost, but then Hut Cartel is obviously really good, and he has some interesting interactions with his mastery gains with Jabba and all of those folks, all of those scum. And then mercenary, and I mean, scoundrel is pretty generic, but he's okay. He's not great. He's not a world beater. I don't expect him to ever be necessarily. Does he have a nose? Is he? He's not the same. He's not a Nemoidian, is he? I don't know what the deal is with Star Wars. They're like, hey, here's the way you deal with things. If you want him to look different but still kind of recognizable as a humanoid, just don't put a nose on them. Like, they don't need a nose. Who knows why they're doing that? Now, Snips, maybe this seems like a really stupid generic thing of, hey, she's a requirement. You need to get a Relic 9 because that's for Ahsoka. And yes, she is going to be a Galactic Legend Ahsoka unlock. And yes, that's obvious. A lot of people are going to be working on her just by default because of that. But I will say this, folks. Even if you're not going for Galactic Legend Ahsoka, which a lot of people should not be. A lot of people should just be working on other things at this point and focusing on better, stronger things. For their roster, at least, I think Snips is someone that you pretty consistently want to get to higher relics. Maybe you don't need her to 9 right away. I'm going for Galactic Legend Ahsoka on this account. I may as well get her to 9 now because she does a lot of awesome stuff. She hits way harder than you would expect if you mod her that way. She's also, at different times in different metas, been kind of targeted for being softer and weaker, and being kind of the weak link on like a Jedi Master Kenobi team, and so people will target her to get out of his savior ability, to get rid of it, and then they'll go and kill Cad or whatever. That's been a known strategy, and whereas that may not end up changing too much, I will say that Snips at Relic 9 is going to be significantly tougher to kill than Snips at Relic 5, Relic 7, whatever. And in addition to that, we talk about fleets a lot here because fleets are apparently important, even if they're not that fun. But they also, the fleets are important for a lot of different reasons. But Snips' ship is able to hit crazy hard when it comes in as reinforcements in a lot of different, the negotiator fleet or whatever. Snips' ship is able to just absolutely destroy things, and you start noticing that as a substantial impact to your fleet endeavors right around when she hits Relic 7, Relic 8, and Relic 9 is just a small and not even insignificant. It is a very challenging thing to get to 9, but it is something to be working for, because eventually you're going to want her to 9 anyways, and you're going to benefit from her. She goes on a ton of different teams anyways. It's not just a Jedi Master Kenobi. She goes with Padme really well. She goes with a lot of the different Galactic Republic teams and all the different Jedi. She even has synergy with Nightsisters, which is something we've been talking about for a while, though actually her leadership is horrible, so don't do it because of that. So those are the 5 that I've kind of pinpointed. Now, I do think it's interesting, folks. The mercenary tag was applied to Aphra, and I'm not necessarily, this is not me saying you have to go out and work on Aphra and unlock her. I think she is still a character that you should really push back, and right now she's the height of a luxury character. Yeah, sometimes she's really good with certain datacrons, but that's every character. Every character has its day in the sun with datacrons, or at least most of them, and Aphra's no exception to that. She's a lot of fun when that happens, but she's not transcendent otherwise. She is often used as a cleanup team for failed attempts to kill Jabba or something like that. She does some cool stuff. Yes, she could be used to one-shot a lot of different Jabba comps, assuming Jabba doesn't have a certain datacron that takes her out. So there's just a big... And then all of our characters that are used to unlock Aphra are also not used for anything other than unlocking Aphra. And then, like, Sana is just a total non-factor. Hondo is super fun, but also not that necessary. And then her 2 droids are not necessary unless you want to run Aphra. So once you get Aphra unlocked, then you have her team unlocked, but you don't need her, so you don't need her team, so there's no reason to farm her at all. The very definition of luxury. However, she's going to be, and actually already is, a mercenary. Look at that. And it just so happens Hondo is a mercenary and Sana is a mercenary. I don't know. This is just me saying maybe don't work on her right now a whole lot. I don't really care what you do. I mean, unlocking Aphra is fun. The unlock is actually very unfun. But unlocking Aphra might be nice for your roster. I don't really know what your roster situation is. However, you might want to start thinking about, I mean, if you haven't farmed the droids, maybe start farming them a little bit, start throwing a little gear on them. I don't really know. All I know is now they're mercenaries, and it seems like they could make something of it. And they made sure that they even put one on Chrysanthemum. And who knows if this is actually going to turn into something. But I thought that was an interesting thing that all of her, I mean, not her requirements, the 2 murder bots are not mercenaries, apparently. I think that they actually fit the bill as well. But I think maybe they'll make something of it. Maybe they won't. It seems like CG would really prefer that we spend money to get Aphra and prioritize her, and all of the other characters have a reason to farm them, except for Aphra. Alright? And then the other thing I thought was interesting, there's 2 Jedi mercenaries. I don't know what that's going to end up doing, but Kyle Katarn, Cal Kestis, which is funny actually, because Cal Kestis is, in a lot of ways, a replacement to, and I actually made a video on this a long time ago, but he's actually a replacement in the canon, in a way, to Kyle Katarn, and like his character arc and even his naming convention, all that stuff, that they're very linked. They have very, very similar arcs and pathways within their different storylines. It's actually really fascinating, but to me at least. But anyways, I don't know if they're gonna have anything interesting in terms of interacting with each other, in terms of acting with mercenary, but I did think it was like we have a couple Jedi who are mercenaries. It seems a little strange. It seems contrary to the nature of Jedihood. But I don't really care about that. You should just throw your Omicron on Kyle. No, don't do that. Guys, I'm gonna leave you here with those amazing words of advice. So thank you all so much for watching, and let me know in the comments what characters you think are extremely vital. I hope you're all doing well and will continue to be well. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, I hope you prevail. Take care, folks.